I can't hear, so let me just give me 1 minute.
John, that's an office, huh? Wow.
Shit.
Can't hear you. Five monitors in there. Look at that, Pat. Looks pretty good.
Hey, Joe, just while I wait for John, is the fire station, did I see that came in an over budget?
Nope, we met Wednesday and we were able to rearrange some of the funding and we'll be able to sign the GC's contract.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, skin of my teeth.
Are you allowed to say who the GC is, or is that not public?
Well, no, it's public. It's M. O'Connor.
Oh, they did the Academy building.
Yep.
They did a nice job. Good.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they're excited.
Enter your participant.
You must be calling in.
Lil, when did you get power back? Did you lose power at all on Monday? No, you didn't.
We did not. We seem to be on the right side of the tracks.
I was
That's
out 2 days straight.
I'm on the wrong side.
Mr. Driscoll.
Half our street up here lost it. There was a telephone pole on the other end of the street that went down. So like the last 3 or 4 houses down on the other side lost it, but we never lost internet or anything like that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Ron, are you able to hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear
Loud
you.
and clear.
Sorry about that. I don't know why I couldn't get it to work, but I'm on my cell phone for audio, and then I'm on Zoom regular for video.
Great.
And John, there's no delay in your mouth too, so it works out perfect.
Okay, good. I saw that we started recording, so we must have a quorum.
Correct. Yep.
All right, so we'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for making the accommodation to get online here tonight for this meeting. I heard you talking about power outages there when I was trying to join. I was fortunate. I didn't experience any.
That's good. Just knocked out your audio on your computer, that's all.
All right, so item 4, opening remarks.
Thanks, John. Evening, everybody. Happy holidays. Hope everyone's doing well. Just obviously, I know we have a quick agenda, so I don't want to take too much time. As John mentioned, and Pat brought it up in the beginning, this is kind of our first real test of being on generated power for an extended period of time at the Mitchell. I have to say, being over there when Dennis called and said power was out, I obviously went over just to check on things, and pulling in, you would never really know it. It was the school was up and running and functioning compared to our other schools, and what comes on the generator and what doesn't. It was really, a significant difference. So just, great systems we have in place. I think obviously there's a few glitches that Mark Chaka, the head custodian, it just kind of noted during that day about why a certain room might have been lit versus another. We had some classrooms that most of the classrooms had a bank of lights come on, but a couple classrooms did not. They just had one light on, say by the classroom door. So just trying to figure out those little things. So he's compiling a list, and I know we'll share them with everybody afterwards. from CHA and from Bacon and the electrical contractor as well, just to get those worked out. But overall, it really went well. Again, I was happened to go down to the cafeteria and that was lit up like Las Vegas. I mean, it was usually, those are some dark spots, but not that day. So it was great. And like I said, night and day, going to say over the Williams, who also was on generator power, what was lit up there compared to the Mitchell was really significant. So it's great. So I know Connor, obviously I always do it to Alyssa, I steal her thunder and kind of go over what we're going to talk about. So I'll defer to him and we'll make it a quick agenda.
No, that was a good update for on Monday.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. Can everyone see this?
So, yeah, before we go on, Connor, so that was item 4 on the agenda. Item 5, I apologize, I was away from technology all day today, so I don't know if we received the meeting minutes in order to review them and then approve them. Did anybody else get them?
Yes, we did receive them, John.
Okay, so I haven't read them, but if we have a quorum without me, do we?
Oh, wait a
Still-
minute, wait a minute.
No.
It's
I
for
could
the,
be lying
the
to you. I have the October ones.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
I don't think we do
Okay.
have the November.
Okay, so I think we'll just defer that to the next meeting. Do we have to take a vote to defer to the next meeting since we haven't received them?
No. I think so.
Okay. All right, item 6, OPM update. Now you're on, Connor.
Great, thank you. Disregard the date here. That was from Monday. So just progress report, what's going on lately. We're still doing remaining just contractor work and change order work. This next holiday break next week, the contractor will have certain parties at the school getting work done. Regarding the upcoming change order that I'm going to present today, as well as just some stuff that was remaining, like the millwork, the damaged millwork and the library desk millwork. That was originally in the contract work and got missed somehow. So we've been pushing for that, and that's going to get resolved over next week, which is exciting.
Can I just interrupt 1 minute? So
Yep.
having the contractor on site next week, Brian, if you can identify and get those electrical little glitches to us, I'll see if American Electric can get there as well. Try to rectify that as quickly as possible.
Okay, Joe, will do.
Thank you. Go ahead, Connor. Sorry for the interruption.
No, you're okay. As well as some past damage that had happened during one of the first couple leaks in the school. There was some shade damage that the rust from above the ceiling had dripped down and stained that shade. So we finally got all that attic stock and we can install that over in the break, which is great. And as well for lighting, I know that Cooper Lighting has come with agreement with RDA as well as the town as to kind of what they need to do moving forward. I know they'll be on site next week, programming to the owner's needs. They did a full switch reset almost to the admin wing and the pre-K wing, just as like a test to see how the teachers would like it. And the owners seemed to be happy. I talked to Mark, the custodian, and he seemed very happy with those changes. Moving on to the final audit closeout documentation. So anything with asterisks is ongoing or in progress as of right now. And the MSBA closeout documents, we're in contact with the MSBA and gathering those documents for them to wrap this up. Upcoming meetings, I had it as the 8th as a TBD date. I know that is the week we return. No, it's a Monday, so we can keep it if you guys would like, but that can be a discussion. And then this is an updated budget as of Monday. So we're still looking at the the same numbers as last month, just because we're gonna submit a pro pay, the first of the year, so we'll be getting some money back from the MSBA. And then just some percentages and budget, numbers, so we're still at the 80.6 million. And then pro pay, 1 through 36. I know 37 should be going through following the new year, so that's something to look forward to. Going to the RDA, I don't know if RDA wants to add anything. I see Gene's on.
Hi, you guys. I'm here and John's in the background. No, I mean, we're just, John is, right? Whatever you guys are chasing, he's hanging in there with you and, Mike Dolan, I appreciate your email this past week, and Joe, I mean, no one's going anywhere, and if it goes slow, it goes slow, but we got to do it right.
Right. And, typically, Gene, and to your point, MSBA, the closeout does take time. And, there's even a 10-month commissioning follow through on that. And any of those loose items and the reimbursement, they're methodical about it. And they just want to make sure they hit those timelines appropriately. That's all.
But yeah, so we're chasing issues. Still playing with the lighting. But it's getting there. Other than that, no, we're just here to support you guys closing it out.
Thank you, Gene.
Yep.
John, do you want me to move on to change order 26?
Well, I think I'm running the meeting.
Yes, you are.
So
Yeah, you are.
were there any questions for the OPM update? We know we have the lighting issue. It sounds like that's on track to get resolved. What type of work do we have going before we get to the change order over the break? Can you just summarize it again?
Yeah. So during the first couple months of school, there was some damage to some shades upstairs on the first grade. I think it's the first grade wing. There was a leak and it caused damage to the shade. So we were waiting for the attic stock to come in, which is just extra material. And we finally got that in from Systems Contracting, and they will be repairing that shade and putting the new fabric in there on the second floor. And then drywall in the admin office. So that's an outlet swap. The outlet was in a difficult position to have people sit down at the counselor's desk. So it was exposed wires that weren't necessary. We did similar work to the vice principal's office too as well earlier in the year. And this seemed to show its head recently, so we're getting that fixed. That's that will be next week. Millwork repair in the makerspace. So when we had the leak at the overhead door in the maker's room, that all the baseboard on those cabinetry got absorbed. It absorbed the water. So Bacon Agostini will be coming in and replacing that baseboard on all that millwork or by the door opening. And then the library desk millwork and the outlet adjustment. So the librarian's desk is an L shape. Right when you walk in the library, there's an outlet with plugs in it on the actual wall, so it can't bump into the wall all the way. Can't be a flush mount, so they have to cut a hole in the millwork and recess it. Yep.
And just to be clear, John, all of the leaks that had occurred from each of those stones, the roofing contractor and general contractor out to resolve those associated with the door and the roof lines.
Okay, how about the that electrical panel cover that was kind of holding us up for substantial completion? I'm sorry, for final certificate of occupancy.
Came in. We have it now.
Okay, so do we have final CO, or is we still waiting on that for something?
No, I believe so. We have it. Yep.
Okay. Nothing on the gym floor? That was for
No,
Pat.
I'm
Done
aware.
and accepted.
Okay. All right, anybody have any questions on the OPM update? All right, moving on to the designer update. But before I do, Connor, I like the direct approach, so I was only kidding, but we have to take things to a public meeting.
Understood.
So I'm going to move on to the designer update. Gene, I know you've already contributed, so you can say enough said and we can move to the next item, but wanted to give you the opportunity.
Enough said, and you know, again, it's mostly John, but you know, we're not going anywhere, so we'll be here till it gets completely closed out. We're chasing a couple items with Ryan, and we're all
You know
set.
how to reach you, Gene.
What's that?
You know how to reach you.
Yeah, you do. Yep. Enough said, John.
All right. Any questions on the designer update? All right. Item 8, review and approval of change order number 26. Vote is required.
So this is change order number 6. I mean, sorry, 26. There's 3 items, 3 PCOs within this change order. The wall repair, that was the repair to the admin's wall with the outlet switch that I had just explained in the previous slide. So that's just moving an outlet in the electrical within the wall to a more secure spot so it's not exposed. Acoustical testing. So the rooftop units, they've been causing a rumbling within the classrooms below. The consultant that Bacon had looked at it stated that it was within that spec of the certain noise that was required or within that means of noise. So we just want to make sure that that's true and have our own eyes and ears look at it. So we're hiring an acoustical consulting of our own to test the rooftop units.
Yeah,
Did I
they
say
said
that
it's
correctly,
acceptable.
John?
John, hold on. They just said their HVAC contractor hired a company and said they said the decibel levels based on the operation of that equipment was acceptable within the limits. We just wanted a third party to look at it to make sure that that was the case.
All right, so here's what's happening with this. We forced Bacon
Mhm.
by insisting that it was their problem.
Yep.
So they hired an acoustical consultant to perform testing on the noise, or I keep calling it a nuisance because it's not just a noise, it's a vibration. And all of their testing produced results that were below the thresholds allowed. So they should be compensated for their acoustical testing because they shouldn't have to prove what they said they did by specification. What we're doing is I've had our acoustical consultant review that report. He concurs. However, talking with the district, they still feel the nuisance is objectionable, and I agree with them. So on Thursday, the 28th, myself, our acoustical consultant, and Mark, the facilities guy there, we are going to go on the roof and see if we can ascertain what the noise is. If we find that it's something that it's the contractors to fix, we are going to insist that they fix it below the thresholds or not, if it was something deficient. If we find that it's something that would have been beyond their control and is what could be considered a latent condition, we will have to then discuss it with the committee about what to do with it. But the bottom line is that the district still believes it's a nuisance, and I agree. So I have to go out there with the acoustical consultant and see what we can do to find this noise.
And just to piggyback on John's comments, it really, I mean, I was at Mitchell yesterday walking the building, and you know, the classrooms, when you walk in, you can hear that hum that you don't hear in other classrooms. So it is noticeable. I'm sure the teacher at this point, it's probably white noise, but you know, if you are coming into the room, not having been in there for a period of time, it's definitely something that you pick up on.
I mean,
Did we invite the actual manufacturer of the unit out to
They have
maybe?
been out numerous times, Joe.
Okay.
The history of this is there was a noise initially that was considered a noise. They came out, assessed the unit, the contractor fixed that noise, and that noise went away. But my contention is immediately thereafter, there was a new noise after their repair, which is why I was so positive that it was their problem.
Got it.
May still be their problem. It's just we don't have any ammunition in our gun because the noise level is below the threshold that is allowable. So
Right.
I have to find out what it is and prove that it's their fault that's causing the noise
Or not.
or not. But I'm hoping to find something that I can say, look, if you'd done what you were supposed to do, there wouldn't be a noise. So I expect you to fix it.
So you'll write a report after your investigation.
Absolutely. I'll have our acoustic consultant write a report that substantiates whatever claims we make or absolutely concurs that there isn't a problem. It's just a noise that's below the threshold that can't be fixed. But
Right.
he will write that report when I'm done.
Thank you.
But the reason for the change order is I can't force a contractor to test something that they have continually stated was not a problem.
Well, we can force it. We just got to pay for it. That's all.
Right, which is what they did. They agreed
Yep.
to do the work, but now they say, look, we shouldn't have had to do this.
So John, I followed that pretty much. So this acoustical testing change order is for our independent acoustical testing?
No, no, it's
Not-
For the general contractors, independent.
right. It's for their testing. They had someone come out and there's an actual PO in this change order of what they were charged to test this unit.
They would have paid for it if it had failed, John, but it didn't fail. So,
Right.
so we have to compensate them.
Yeah, so I understand that. So John, let me ask you this. It sounds to me like, okay, it was within the specifications for noise and vibration. I understand if we ask them to prove it was, and it was, that we should reimburse them. But what I'm not understanding is there's still a problem. So at some point, even if it's at the district's expense, we don't want to walk away from the building with an objectionable noise, whether it would met the original criteria or not. So your reference to our acoustical consultant, which I think you mean is the design team's acoustical consultant.
Yep.
Have you asked them, other than, validate what was done here, are you going to ask them to make any recommendations for improvement?
We're going out
I mean, it
Thursday.
might,
We're going out Thursday of the vacation week to ascertain what they think the issue may be. And if it turns out to be something that is deficient, I'm going to insist the contractor repair it.
But if it costs money,
If it costs money, we'll have to discuss that with you.
but they will make recommendations.
They will definitely make a recommendation.
To solve
a
it.
recommendation improvement, not just as it relates to whether it met the original design
No.
specification.
They've already made their statement that they agree that based on the testing, the noise, they're not going to retest. This is a research mission to find the problem
And solve it.
and solve it, because they already concur with the testing of the previous acoustical testing agency. So if
All
we
right, so
find it Thursday, we're going to set up another time to go out and find it again. We're going to keep after this until we get rid of this.
Okay, that's great. So, I mean, my comment to the committee is we need to let it run. We need to advance this like the design team is, and we want to fully consider and move forward with any mitigation, reasonable mitigation. It should be presented to the committee and we should discuss it and, try to enhance the situation, because we don't want them to be living with objectionable noise or vibration. So I appreciate what the design team's doing. One last question on that, John, I think, last question. So that chapter as to whether it was the original, whether it was the contractor's liability or not, as a design team, you've already moved forward from that, and that's why you're processing the change order to reimburse them for the testing that you asked them to do. Is that correct?
Only for the fact that they tested it and produced test results that indicated that it was within specifications.
So,
I
yeah,
have never abrogated the right to have them fix the noise if I find something deficient.
Okay, so like I said, I think it was the last question. My thought was we're just not getting ahead of this. We're not going to pay them and then find out it was a mechanical problem, something was loose inside, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, we force them to test it, John. So, and it would be like if we questioned concrete and we forced them to retest it, and it turned out that the concrete was in specifications. They would want to be paid for the retesting of that concrete, and legitimately so. I would say that's probably in the specifications. That, I mean, yeah, we look in the it talks about any retesting is at the cost of the contractor unless the material comes back within specifications. So I mean that's right in our testing specifications typically.
Yeah. So going forward, it's just an investigation into an improvement of the acoustical condition out there, either vibration or noise, and then the district will have to determine how they react to that and whether we want to take mitigation measures over and above the original design. Okay.
Yes,
I get it.
and I will present it in a report form and a recommendation form that will be clear to everyone what we think the issues are and how they can be resolved.
Good.
You may never hear about it again, because if it's bad, we're going to tell them to fix it, and then we're going to fix it. And then other than that, you'll hear that we took care of the problem and it's done. But I just want to make sure you laid out, you see the whole picture where we're headed in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Connor.
Thanks, John. So PCO 134, that's for the reprogramming of the security panel alarm system in the principal's office. Right now he's receiving alerts throughout the day that even when you mute it, it still comes back. John, did you want to kind of reiterate kind of what the issue is here? I know NSG is coming out to fix it,
Okay, so
and reprogram the whole panel for him.
we gave very clear direction to NSG, the security subcontractor of the electrician, on how to program the fire alarm and the NMM and the mass notification system in all of the enunciators that are throughout the building. So we actually told them what to put in there, and we knew what was in there by default. One of the things that's in there by default is there's an alarm that processes and is audible in the principal's office through a panel that is specifically put in his office. What it is it's disruptive to his workflow. This alarm goes off constantly. It's a notification alarm of what's going on in the system. So it happens everywhere else in the building, but they're in places where it doesn't matter. He asked to have this removed, and we were having them there for some other programming anyway, which is why this is the lower cost that it is, because they're going to do it when they're reprogramming other components of the fire alarm and mass notification system over the Christmas break.
All right. Any questions for either of these three PCOs? All right. We got to entertain a motion.
I'll entertain a motion to approve Bacon's change order number 26 in the amount of $6,586.73.
Mike Dolan, this is all
There-
second.
right, let's take the roll.
John,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Lil,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Thank you, Josh. Item 9, next, Mitchell Elementary School Building Committee meeting. So Connor, I know you had on the 8th, but maybe we could just talk about whether that's too soon after the year or after the break, or maybe it's the right time. What do we think? I mean, is there any other?
John, if I
Later in the
could
month?
just chime in from a district standpoint, we actually have a budget subcommittee meeting that night. So that would be difficult for me to make the 8th.
We could probably push it out though. I mean, I don't see that being
Yeah,
a.
push it to the 15th, maybe the following Monday.
Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, that is Martin. Yep, you're right. Sorry, Mark. Yep.
I'll tell you what we can do, John, is if you want, we could probably, have a conversation the first of the year. Connor could send out a few dates that might work, and then we can get some input that'll work for everybody.
Are you thinking, Joe, that it would be still January?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to try to do it the third week in January, just so that in case there's any documentation that I want to at least present or need signatory authorization on things, I just want to make sure that, we're moving forward. That's all.
Third week is Martin Luther King Day. Can't do it that day.
Then maybe the 1st of February.
I still think there's one more week in January.
Yeah, we can do it the 22nd if that works with everyone.
Because I know coming off the new year, that week is usually a short week and everybody's playing catch up.
Yeah, I'm inclined to get it on the, get it scheduled so that people can plan accordingly. And then if for some reason there's no value to having the meeting, we could reschedule it.
Yep. John, what are your
So,
thoughts on the
I guess-
22nd?
So we're talking the 22nd, right? Of January. So that works for me. That work for others?
That works for me as well.
That's fine, John.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, well, why don't we schedule for the 22nd? And while we're all here, do we want to? Can we look far enough ahead to February to pick a backup date, or so we don't have to do it by email, or would you rather just wait? Because there is the 29th of January, and then the next Monday is the 5th of February.
If we do the 22nd, maybe we just stick with the second Monday of the month, which is the normal meeting day in February. Just my thought.
Yeah, that sounds good. That would be the 12th.
John, I'm not going to hold it up because obviously I'm not a voting member. Monday's coming up. January, February going to be difficult for me just because we not only have budget on most nights, but then we also have negotiations with the unions. So I'm certainly any update I can send through Connor, and I could try to step out and attend when I can, but just wanted to provide that update. Maybe a meeting that I may not be able to attend.
Okay, understood. You're okay with that, though, Mr. Powers?
I am. I
can't
certainly, like I said, will do my best to, if I have any updates on my end, get them, to Connor and Joe and the committee and you. If there's any follow up, just certainly let me know.
All right. So we'll go with the 22nd, and then if for some reason that doesn't happen or doesn't need to happen, and we're going to push it to February, we'll go to the second Monday, which is the 12th.
Perfect.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Item 10, new business.
I guess, John, if it's okay, I know Connor had one update, and I probably should have reviewed it then. about the outdoor benches on the playground. If everybody can kind of visualize, we have a circular shaped wooden deck and some wooden benches that are out there. I think we've shared in the past, but if we haven't, we run into some issues with the benches where they're splintering. And we've been talking about this and looking into solutions for quite some time. Really, any type of solution that would really fix and solve the problem would be pretty significant in terms of cost. So, we did kind of start to talk internally about, or what would our other options be? What else could we use that space for? We do have a couple areas out there that currently have outdoor tables where, classes go out and congregate and use that as a learning space, or, possibly outdoor eating space. We were thinking of potentially, removing the wooden benches that are there on the wooden deck. We would keep the wooden deck surface, but, potentially remove the benches and just replace them with, tables that are similar tables to what we have out there. And then again, just kind of expand the outdoor learning space. The benches kind of run the perimeter of the circular deck. And there's some, plantings that could be done. The classes haven't taken advantage of, doing any of those plantings in there. And, they do get used, but, so does the other area with the table. So we have started to explore that. I just kind of wanted to give everybody an update. We did remove one bench already, just to see what was kind of underneath and how much damage, if we did do this, what would we have to do? And the wood is actually in great shape. There would be a few, screw holes that we'd have to fill in, but our district carpenter would be able to do that. And then we know the only other thing, but this would be probably within a year, just the wood itself would, be discolored because it hasn't faded like the rest of the deck. But we still have the bench, so if we always need to put it back on, we could. But at the very least, we do feel like this may be our best option. Just we've actually had several students end up in the nurse's office, believe it or not, with pretty significant splinters, and not just one. We had a child sit down and end up going to the nurse because that child had several splinters, quite a number of splinters, on their back of their legs and so forth. And Gene and John and Alyssa and Connor and the rest of the team, they've done an extensive kind of overview of this research. They've had Kerry from Bacon looking into this, what possible options could be. Was it a materials flaw? They went so far as to go to the lumber supplier where they got the wood to make sure it was the actual wood. Gene has used this particular wood in other projects and has had very little, if any, issues, I believe, Gene. And it's a beautiful wood. It really is. I think the way the wood was cut, and I don't know, Gene, if I'm going to do a great job of explaining this as you and John may do, so jump in. Just the way the wood was cut to kind of form go along the edge of the circular pattern. It just ended up splintering, I guess, the way the wood was cut and beveled to a certain degree. And so it's not something that could be fixed. We'd probably run into a same issue if we just replaced it with other wood, just again, the way it's cut and kind of bent around. So we did look into replacing it with some type of synthetic, I use the word Trex, like that Trex material, the plastic material. But again, to do that and cover those the benches in that material was going to be pretty significant, a number that we just weren't comfortable with even coming to you to say, would you consider this, just given the amount of use that space gets. So we're still kind of exploring it. We've had several conversations with Gene and John and the internal team about what the best option would be. But I just, I didn't want to not share that with the committee if, someone sees a bench is missing or ends up seeing, other benches missing.
John, can I ask a question on
Sure.
that? So Gene, that wood was very expensive. Wasn't that like a mahogany or like a redwood or something?
Yeah, it's called iPay. Yep.
So the deck is not this one. Most of the wood was used on the deck, and then it was also used on the benches. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
So so we spent all that money on that. I mean, I remember the number for that decking was crazy. It's like, wasn't it like $80,000 or something just for the material?
I do not remember, Patrick. I don't remember.
I just, so nobody's responsible for the failure of material 18 months in?
Well, unfortunately, it's a natural material, and you know, everything that's from nature is slightly different. Like Ryan said, you know, it's used all over the place. And I guess the way that this was, you know, milled or kind of, you know, fabricated to make this round section on the benches, left some edges that unexpectedly, you know, like honestly, unexpectedly have caused problems.
Is it something that could be sanded? We had a painting contractor come in and sand it and then put like an oil on it, would that solve the problem?
I think Bacon, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but Bacon was asked about that, and they said they'd be happy to do it, but they couldn't promise, you know, they couldn't warranty that it wouldn't happen again. And so I think the consensus at the table was not to spend a lot of money doing that, if no one could stand behind it.
Jane, how many, Pat, before you jump in, how many benches are we talking about?
I can't remember how,
I think there's three.
it's
Three
three,
of them, maybe?
like you know, I don't know, we may be talking 30 linear feet, Joe.
Right. So Pat, this is my feeling. I mean, we could get a contractor and then possibly sand it and maybe, you know, I wouldn't seal it because you know, it's an outdoor thing. It's more of an oil, but it doesn't guarantee that you're not going to get checking and splintering out of this material moving forward. And with a younger population, you know, I can see some of the concerns Ryan might have with some of the student population. Only being 3 benches and the rest of the material would stay in place, I would almost lean towards, you know, using a different material that complements that area that'll promote no injury to anybody or possible injury. So it's we have money.
It was a beautiful area. I mean, if we, you know, the ASIC product, just like Ryan mentioned, the Trex, I mean, something like that, I think. I mean, I'd hate to dismantle something. I mean, that, even though it doesn't get used a lot now, it was a beautiful. I remember when they were building, it's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful deck. Those benches are beautiful. I'd hate to, you know, 18 months in, you know, abandon part of it. I'd rather fix it while we still have a committee and the ability to do so with the extra funds.
Yeah, we have funds, and we do have funds available to make, you know, the minor correction of these 3 benches. And I think if it's going to better suit the district for the next 50 years, that's the way to go.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but you were going to replace it. The district was planning on replacing those 3 benches with picnic tables, right? The ones that were already down on the playground.
So there's tables out there, yes, Connor, that under one of the sunshades, if you're looking at it, say from the front of the school down to the right, there's several tables there. We were thinking of either replacing them with something like that, or we did talk about, you know, some type of like stadium seating, so they would still have the effect of, you know, a teacher could be out there, have his or her class in front of them and still be able to do some of the things that the benches allowed us to do. But we didn't want to leave too much open space on the deck because our fear was, could the deck start to check and splinter? You know, right now kids haven't been sitting on it, or if they have, we haven't run into any issues. And I think John went out at one point and was, you know, working with his team and, you know, running his hand over it and no splinters, but there's no guarantee that wouldn't start to check and splinter either. So we definitely want to, you know, to Pat's point, put something out there that's complementary. We don't want to, you know, put something neon and flimsy out there. We do want it to look a nice space, and that's why we wanted to keep the deck too. We didn't want to abandon the whole idea of having that wood out there, because it is, you know, to your point, Pat, and everyone else, if you've seen it, it is a beautiful space, and that material is nice. It just, for whatever reason, the benches have not worked.
Joe and John, do you think, John, is it all right if I ask Joe a question? I'm sorry. John Garish?
Yeah. gonna pile on, Pat. I mean, this doesn't sound right,
Well, I mean, just,
you know.
I mean,
Walk away something that doesn't work. I mean, it sounds like a misapplication to me. If it's failed in 18 months and it's something that's regularly applied, it's either a misapplication or something's not right. But I want something that's durable, like a composite product. Even if it doesn't fit the look, it's got to be functional to me first. And then I'm going to ask, you know, did we have to select wood because of some LEED or sustainability credit that we had to achieve? But go ahead, Pat.
so, I mean, I think it's a beautiful design, and I think it's a beautiful area. We have contingency money still. Can we get a price to? Could we get a selected? Could we have Gene select a replacement material and get a price to replace it? Why we still can replace the bench material with like a composite?
I do think, Pat, either John or Kerry from Bacon had already got some additional pricing. I mean, this is a few months ago, so I don't know how accurate this number would be today, but it was in the tens of thousands of dollars to cover that.
Yeah, it was like 30. I think it was right around like 30 plus.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it makes sense and it's a good long-term investment, why wouldn't we do it?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be something if that was the direction that the committee wanted to take. You know, as a district, we wouldn't oppose that. We were hesitant to bring a significant number like that forward. But you know, if that's something that the group wants us to continue to explore, you know, I don't know how much work will get done, you know, now because of the weather coming up. So we have a little bit of time to really kind of get some concrete plans and numbers if that's the direction that you'd like us to at least start to explore.
Yeah, if I could ask Gene, is this something that you could put together or make a recommendation? I mean, it sounds like you've already been investigating it.
Sorry, yeah, we actually did. It's going on months now, 3 months maybe, I don't know. But so John, the synthetic tops that are used on benches and the tables that are in other places at the playground, we thought would be a good alternative for the top of these benches. And Bacon did price it. I don't remember off the top of my head what the price was, but I think the group said, wow, that's a big chunk of change, and I don't think they brought it forward. But so there is a material and there is a price, I think, that's already out there.
If that's the best way to go, why don't we bring it forward and vote on it?
Okay. We have
right?
a product that will be custom made to the radius of the benches with no bevel cutting. It comes in a pre-manufactured, you know, there's a length limitation, but it comes pre-manufactured and it just needs to be fastened down to the framing on the bench as it stands right now. So instead of cutting it and trying to fit it into place, we priced a pre-manufactured radius product for each of the applications on each of the benches. But I have to get the firm quote from Bacon because they gave us an order of magnitude for the material and an order of magnitude for the installation. So it was never fully vetted because I wanted to get an order of magnitude number in front of the OAC people so that we could at least consider this. But so if the direction of the committee is to have them price it as it's supposed to be for an installation in April vacation, then that's what we can do.
We have time,
Yeah,
John, to do that, so.
Have it presented, you know, so we can make an informed decision.
All right, we have when's our next OAC meeting? The 10th?
I mean, it was beautiful when it was first done. I went and saw it. I mean, I hate to. I mean, I think it's still a good design. Don't you think it's still a good? Do you think the design is not good anymore, Gene? Or is the design?
No. The design is it's great. It's a great outdoor classroom, you know, from an educational standpoint. And then I don't know.
So if we think the design is great and we just have an issue with some of the materials, I wouldn't abandon the whole design. Let's fix the problem while we can.
Yeah, unless Ryan disagrees and you think picnic tables are better, you know, or more flexible or something, you know.
No, I think the design of that space, Gene, the way you have it is great. We really do. I wouldn't, prefer the picnic tables over replacing that material or fastening something over the top of it. It really was just, again, internally we're just uncomfortable bringing a significant number like that for that space, but we can certainly revisit that if that's now that we kind of know the direction and appetite of the committee. John and I and the group can get a concrete number for you at one of the upcoming meetings.
I think before we also move ahead with that, Ryan, perhaps we could ask the teachers, as far as that space is concerned, would they rather us go in that direction or would they rather have the picnic tables? What is more useful to them? If we put all this money into it, additional money to fix it, and then they're not using it to the same capacity, is that really worth it? So I think if we ask the staff themselves how much they use that, would they rather that or would they rather additional picnic tables out there? Just my 2 cents as an educator.
I think that sounds reasonable. Is that something Mr. Power can do?
Absolutely, John. Mr. Bray and I will work on that, gathering that information, and so we'll kind of bring it all forward as upcoming meeting when we have some more information on the pricing, and we'll also kind of get a sense of where the teachers are at.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea too. I'd hate to see that space abandoned because not abandoned, but modified, like on the fly. I think we have a real nice design. I'd just like to fix the issue,
Sounds good.
All right. Anything more on new business? All right. Number 11, public comment. Anybody have anything?
John, I just want to let you know, I've had a couple of districts actually go and look at the school, and they are very impressed with the design. They were astounded at how we were able to actually build it at the cost that we were able to do it, because with the cost nowadays. And MSBA has actually commented on it too. We literally bid this project and got it in like the bids in hand prior to a lot of cost escalations, and the district did very well by getting the school and the quality based on the design. So I just want to let you know there's been a lot of good feedback from it.
Well, thank you.
Joe, you actually say that why Gene's on the call. I had a friend over in the Hingham area show me, is there the same school or a similar school architecturally being built? Are you doing a school in Hingham, Gene?
We are.
I saw the picture. I'm like, that looked a lot like the school we just did. I mean, the materials and everything.
It's going to have a lot of the same features, pretty rugged materials on the first floor, like it's not terrazzo, but it's like bluestone tile almost. And a lot of light wells inside, with those.
Well, put it this way. I didn't even have to ask who the architect was. Just by looking at the building, I'm like, wow, that looks familiar.
Oh, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, I thought, no, it was meant to be a compliment. So
thank you very much. I mean, we're really proud of Mitchell. I mean, and Joe is right. It's
it made me feel good to see it, because I'm like, you know what? He must have thought he did a good job over there, and I'm glad they're doing the same thing over here. So,
well, we'll invite you over when it's done. It was kind of an interesting one though, because we had to build it behind the existing school, right, while they're still in session, but there was a hill there. So, the first package was kind of removing thousands and thousands of cubic yards of material and building all these big retaining walls. So we had a flat space to put the building. But it's a gorgeous site. It's on a marsh, and it'll be up there with Mitchell. But Mitchell is beautiful. I mean, it really did turn out well. And you guys were,
Yeah,
you guys were really, I guess we all were, we were really smart to have that terrazzo alternate, you know, that really
Okay.
is going to serve you guys well.
Did
I'm
they
gonna
get,
tag on to,
did they get a great OPM like we?
No, not as good, not as good. No way. But Bacon's building it, actually. Bacon had such a good experience with you guys that they John twisted their arms to work in Hingham. So different team, but same company.
we talked about it earlier, but to tag on to Joe's comment about, you know, the bidding coming in low, or at least, yeah, low, and before all the escalation. You know, the other issue of the completion of the project kind of dragging on and going deep or well past the move-in date. You know, we have to remember that we started this project during, you know, hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. So that disrupted so many things, but we still made it through it. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of the lingering things, issues that we're dealing with, or came in late, you know, are directly attributable to that, along with just general labor shortages. So I factor that in when I, you know, sit here, you know, I don't know what meeting number it was. I factor that, think about that, you know.
John, I can tell you bidding projects right now, we're averaging where contractors are doing projects that used to be, you know, 14 to 16 months. They're not even bidding the project unless they have a 18 to 24 month period, just because it's so difficult to, not only it's manpower is one, you know, obstacle. It's getting the material, the switch gear, all of those components in a timely fashion to meet your contract obligations. So they're not going to take on a project knowing that they can't even get, you know, electrical supplies for 16 months and expecting to turn the building over. So it's been a challenge that way.
All right, any more for public comment? Because the next item is adjourned.
I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and hopefully you have a great holiday season.
Thanks, you too, Joe.
You too, Joe.
Second that.
You too, everybody.
Everybody
Everybody.
else.
See you next
All
month.
right,
Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
all right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second.
John, Mark had to leave at 7:30, so you no longer have quorum, so meeting's adjourned.
All right.
There we go.
Have a
Have a
great
good
day.
night, everyone.
All right, thanks, everyone.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Happy holidays.
thanks,
Take care.
bye.